I recall standing in front of 27 ADP associates that had just been notified the day before that they were being laid off. Was anything that I was about to say actually going to help them get another job? Many professionals reach a point where they question themselves as the expert. The higher you climb in your career, the louder that self-doubt can become. If you've ever felt like a fraud in your career, you're not alone. Today, I want to share with you how I dealt with it. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button down below and then ring the bell. This will allow you to be notified every time I post a new video, just like this one. My name is Ryan Stoltzfus. I'm the founder of the Job Hackers Network and the creator of the Job Hackers Method. I help engineering leaders in the tech industry to create their next job opportunity through effective networking. I help them to build their brand so that they can grow their impact. Today, I want to share with you a story of when I worked with 27 ADP associates who had just been notified, and I was involved in that notification that they were being laid off. As a director HRBP with ADP, and at that time leading the global career development teaching program, these individuals were sitting in my sight. It hit me hard as I am in there and I'm in this conversation, and we've got 3 people who are coordinating to give these notifications. It hit me like a ton of bricks. We have to do something to help these people to get jobs. At that time, what we were doing is we were doing a 30-day notice. So we had 30 days that we could get with these associates and we could dive into their lives, dive into their abilities, their skills. To do what? To network, to connect with other leaders inside of the organization and sell themselves, to discover their value proposition, to articulate their stories, the times when they delivered impact in their role. To get the simple is hard, but the things like practical branding, LinkedIn profile, resume, to get the resume up to par so that they had a storytelling tool that they could put in front of other leaders. So, what did I do? I took action, right? I took action. The first thing that I did is I changed where I parked. I made it so that every single time that I stepped into the office, I had to walk by these associates because I wanted to look them in the eye. I wanted them to see me, and I wanted them to ask me to stop. I wanted them to ask me questions. The next thing I did is I brought together a functional team to say, okay, what can we do here? As the expert in that space, in networking, branding, resume, a lot of it fell on my shoulders to build out some material. So that's what I did. I built out the material to first attack the resume. Second, networking steps. So we move forward. The next week is about 3 days after we had let these individuals be known. I'm standing in front of them in a room, 27 people filling into the room, and I've got my resume presentation that transitions into a networking presentation. And I'm standing in front of that room and I'm saying to myself, am I actually going to change these people's lives? Am I actually going to have the tactical steps, the strategy that's going to enable them to do what they need to do? But the thing was, I had done it. At different points in my career, I had put myself in front of hiring leaders. I had sold myself. And I was teaching people some of these practical steps inside of the ADP career development program. So I said, dude, you got buck up and show up. And I did. Ultimately, after having multiple different presentation opportunities and many different questions, times where I'm walking in front of this group and somebody would ask me a question and I'd grab everybody and bring them together and say, let's have a real quick impromptu on networking strategy. Let's talk about this. And investing in their lives, an infusing process, 21 of those individuals were able to find jobs inside of ADP. Now here's the thing, the other 6, they chose not to show up. They chose to take severance. They might have already wanted to leave. They had personal reasons. So we had a 100% success rate in terms of helping people accomplish what they wanted to accomplish. And this ultimately became the start of a program I called Inside First, with a vision of being the best place in the world to get laid off. It's kind of ironic, the best place in the world to get laid off, but the vision was we would help you network. We would help you build your collateral. Ultimately, I had to decide that I was going to show up, that I was going to kick fear in the face and say, if you don't show up, Ryan, who's going to show up for them? If you don't lead, who's going to lead? And this was a pivotal transition in my career where I figured out, hey, Ryan, what you did you can teach to others. A couple of years later, that's what caused me to then create the Job Hackers Network and start teaching others how to carry out an effective job search. If this is helping you, then hit that like button down below and comment answering this question. Have you ever experienced imposter syndrome? Have you ever felt self-doubt as a leader? Comment below. A realization that I have come to in regards to imposter syndrome is that I'm not alone in my self-doubt as a leader. Some of the most successful leaders that I admire the most, I've been able to confirm that they've felt this too, that they've had those moments where they questioned whether they were the expert. The fortitude, right, the strength, the foundation of that expertise, was it as strong as they had thought? I want to frame out for you a mindset shift that they had to go through, that I had to go through it multiple times in my career. So, step one, this is about reframing self-doubt. Having a moment of self-doubt, it doesn't mean that you're unqualified. Here's what it means. It means that you give a crap. It means that you care. You care about the people. You care about the business outcome. You care about what happens, the results. You care. It's critical to realize that that's what that is. That self-doubt is because you care. You're invested. And so then you're going to say, hey, is what I'm bringing to the table going to get us to the outcome that we're driving towards? This is healthy, but you have to reframe that and realize it's just because you care. It's not because you're unqualified. Step number two is you've got to own your own achievements. The successes, they weren't luck. They were built on skill. They were built on effort, inputs. They were built on your experience. And here's the thing, nobody else could have done what you did in the way that you did it. That is yours. And you have to realize and own that. You have earned every promotion that you've gotten. You have earned those accolades that you've received. Nobody gifted those to you. Nobody did you any favors when they tapped you on the shoulders. You positioned yourself. You earned those things. You have got to own your own achievements. The third component here is recognize that growth equals discomfort. We have a center of control. Oftentimes it's connected to our position, our title, but we also have a center of influence. And that center of influence can be pushed out by you. It can be expanded by your purposeful actions. When you're experiencing those moments of discomfort, it's probably because you are actively and purposefully pushing out your center of influence. This is what causes individuals to be able to grow into next level. The best way that you can directly grow into the next level is do what is uncomfortable. Step into the work of that role before you have the title. Push out that influence out to more stakeholders, higher up stakeholders, external stakeholders. Draw the horses around the water, draw people together, strategically execute, and show that you are doing the work of that next level. That's how you go from manager to director. That's how you go from director to VP. You're in the right zone when you are uncomfortable, if what you want is to grow your career and grow your influence.
Are you ready to start or optimize your job search process? Do you feel stuck and need help connecting the dots? Join this free web class where you'll learn the step-by-step formula to control your career progression. We've helped hundreds of experienced engineering and operations leaders just like you to build their brand and grow their impact. Register for this exclusive training today to step into the driver's seat of your career.
Now, that first time that I told you about when I experienced imposter syndrome, that's not the only time I've been through this. In 2022, I stepped out of the corporate space and ended that career as a director HRBP and stepped into the zone of being a full-time entrepreneur, solopreneur, and being the founder of the Job Hackers Network. Inside of the Job Hackers Network, what I do there is I bring together process. I bring together a Slack community where individuals, usually directors of engineering, are interfacing with each other and asking me questions. And every Thursday, we get into the room for a Zoom group coaching call. And this is where imposter syndrome has hit me in the face. So here I am, a 43-year-old dude who's done some pretty cool things in his life, but there's some heavy hitters that are at this table, that are sitting in that room, top tier Amazon, Meta, Google, top tier organizations across the 100 top, tech space, directors of engineering, senior directors, VPs, SVPs, a couple CTOs that are in this room, and I'm helping them to discover their strengths, build out their stories, craft their value proposition, sell themselves directly to other hiring leaders. And every once in a while, I look around on that Zoom call and I see these heavy hitters, and I have these moments that creep into my mind where I say, Ryan, who are you? You're helping these people get $3 million jobs, total comp packages. Like, who are you? But here's the thing, I am an expert in a specific zone, and that is what these people are coming to the table for. They're also coming to the table to be together and to interface with people, people that are in their tier and trying to do the same things and getting their energy and their cup filled. But I am an expert in helping them get to the table and sell themselves effectively. You are an expert in your specific zone of freaking awesomeness. You are an expert. And when you're in that work, when you're in that zone and you're impacting others in your area of strength, you have to move forward. If you want to impact other people's lives, then you have to take risk. Step out there in your zone, right? Don't fake it till you make it. That's BS. You are an expert. Be an expert in that space. And that's been something that I have had to challenge myself on. And in the next segment, I want to go into 4 practical steps that you can put into place that have helped me to challenge myself, to make myself show up. So now let's hit those 4 practical strategies to overcome imposter syndrome. Step number 1, reframe your thoughts. What you want to do here is catch yourself when you are experiencing self-doubt. Catch and challenge self-doubt. Ask yourself this: would I talk to a mentee the way that I am talking to myself? That's a challenging question. The answer to that is going to be no. You would support, you would challenge, but you would help them come to point of action. And that's what you've got to do for yourself. You have to show up for yourself. Number 2, track your wins. It doesn't matter where it is. Somewhere where it's going to be easy enough for you to jump in and keep that leadership journal of your own achievements. Positive feedback, things that you're proud of, things that others have told you they're proud of, ways in which you've affected the work of others positively. This is also going to be a body of material that you come back to when you need to sell your stories, build your brand. And when you take ownership of your brand to be able to verbalize your stories in the right moments, this is how you become known by other leaders so that you can be played on their bench. And that's how people get those shoulder taps, because they're understood for the impact, their strengths, their delivery, their stories, and they played a purposeful part in making sure that was communicated out. The third practical step that I want you to take is I want you to seek community. I want you to talk to mentors. Seek out those individuals who have done something that you desire to do. Those are great people to be mentors to you. Quick practical tip there. If you're seeking a mentor, if you're seeking somebody to guide you, step in front of them and just ask for one meeting at a time. Don't go with a huge barrier to entry and say, hey, can I be your mentee? When they don't really know what you're going to accomplish and whether they're going to be able to contribute meaningfully. So put one meeting on their calendar. And if that's super valuable, ask for another. Connect with other leaders who have done something that you desire to do. They've been up on stages and they're a great public speaker. If that's where you're hit with your imposter syndrome, then look to those individuals. How do they prep for the meetings? How do they prep for the presentations? How do they get themselves into the psychology that's going to enable them to perform? How do they overcome that imposter syndrome? Because everybody at some point does face this, but others have overcome those struggles and we can learn from them. All right, 4th thing you're going to do. You want to act despite doubt. So if I was up in front of those individuals, those 27 associates, and I hadn't said, okay, let's go. Present, Ryan. Go. Do it. Then the 21 of those individuals that landed in roles, some of them would have found jobs, but those were 21 lives, 21 families that if I had just decided I was going to flake out, what would have happened there? Sometimes you just have to take the reins and act. Confidence comes from action. It's not the other way around. But every single time that you show up, that you choose to take action over being frozen, that you lead despite the self-doubt, you're gonna prove to yourself that you belong. The internal negative voices, they're gonna be squashed, dampened, and they won't come back as loud next time. And you will move forward in your confidence, getting through imposter syndrome. It's not gonna stick around forever, but it might take some time. Now, if you are a US-based engineering leader and you're looking to execute a strategic job search and you want process that leads to control, as well as a strong community of your peers to network with, then grab time on my calendar for a job search strategy call. And in that, you'll be able to soundboard with me about your job search process. Now, this is only something that you do if you are serious about rising above, being different from the job search clutter and crowd, and you want to get to the table and sell yourself effectively through effective networking. Check the description below for the link to my calendar if this description fits you. Now check out one of these videos next to help you build your brand and execute strategic job searches throughout your very purposeful career. And I'll see you on the next one.